YAHAWAH, YAHAWAHSHI, YAHAWAH, YAHAWAHSHI, YAHAWAH. This is the brother Abaka La'awalam. Trying to share this video to the Akim. But first and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem YAHAWAHSHI, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, and give double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS where I learned the truth from, and the brothers in the Akim that had the like-minded doctrine. I wanted to just share this video I came across. It's like a week old, but still it's relevant, you know. Basically talking about the economy, the shortages, the food shortages, inflation that has inevitably gonna hit this country here. Babylon the Great, aka America, is just, you know, it's just gonna go into it, and then I'm gonna get into some scriptures afterwards.
A perfect storm is millions of dollars that were just pumped into the economy, driving consumer demand significantly higher. However, adding that to tight supplies and transportation issues, and the result we're getting is a massive shortage of everything, while prices reach astronomical highs. From steel and aluminum to electronic chips and control boards, from lumber to home appliances, cars, trucks, electrical equipment, and an enormously wide range of manufactured goods industries are facing catastrophic supply disruptions. As production has been slowed down over the past few months, transportation problems continue to delay deliveries, and a sudden upsurge in demand is pushing the price of everything up at a much faster pace than people's income growth. Although the $1,400 checks may be providing some short-term relief to millions of families, the mismatch between demand and output will make everything more expensive. Which means
And also, I just want to note that this is for the for entertainment purposes only, and edifications to the body of Yahweh Ba'ashem YAHAWAHSHI. And under the Fair Use Act, this is for educational purposes only, United States Code. Continue with the video.
Weimar-like hyperinflation we warned about has just begun. If that's what authorities call recovery, we must be prepared, because we're about to face a generalized supply chain breakdown and the rapid decay of our purchasing power. That's what we're going to expose today, so stay with us. And don't forget to leave a thumbs up and share this video, and subscribe to our channel to keep updated with the next chapters of the U.S. economic collapse. The arrival of stimulus money into the accounts of millions of Americans should come as financial relief for those who are deeply struggling during the recession. But soaring prices will cause the opposite effect, since fewer people will be able to afford the same goods they used to consume. As we discussed in many of our previous videos, the Fed's constant liquidity pumps would eventually end up triggering runaway inflation. And that's exactly what's happening right now. In Wednesday's press conference, Fed Chair Jay Powell signaled plans to let red-hot inflation run for an indefinite period of time in an economy that is already overheating. The problem is that by doing so, the central bank is effectively crushing the purchasing power of the American consumer. And the situation is about to get worse, as producers of intermediate goods have just started hiking prices even further and passing through inflation. When confronted about the widespread shortages of goods and the enormous price surge witnessed over the past few weeks, the Fed merely ascribed what is taking place to unexpected supply chain disruptions. As a consequence of both the trade conflict with China and the health crisis, which have sparked chaos among supply chain intermediaries. However, the collapse in supply is being fueled by a sudden rise in demand, which for its part has been boosted by the Fed's very own monetary policies, and they know it. Considering that many workers aren't still feeling confident enough to return to their job posts, the stimulus checks are also helping them to stay out of the labor market for the time being. While it's evident that there are many health concerns, the side effects of this trend are causing a labor shortage across many industries, which is also contributing to elevated prices. As a business owner, Mike Schuler described in an interview.
Let me wind that back.
The Fed merely ascribed what is taking place to unexpected supply chain disruptions as a consequence of both the trade conflict with China and the health crisis, which have sparked chaos among traditional supply chain intermediaries. However, the collapse in supply is being fueled by a sudden rise in demand, which for its part has been boosted by the Fed's very own monetary policies, and they know it. Considering that many workers aren't still feeling confident enough to return to their job posts, the stimulus checks are also helping them to stay out of the labor market for the time being. While it's evident that there are many health concerns, the side effects of this trend are causing a labor shortage across many industries, which is also contributing to elevated prices.
See, he was going back to what he was saying. He was basically saying that since the government is giving out all this stimulus money, a lot of workforce, a lot of the people that was out of a job is really reluctant to come back to the job force, because they're getting paid, and it's also bringing down the workforce. It's basically on a decline because people are not trying to go back to work basically. And in scriptures, the scriptures talks about this very same thing. I'm gonna get it out of I think it's can you pull up? Yeah, Ecclesiastes chapter 12. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In that day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. See, that's what it was talking about in that clip, just that instance right there. Basically, talking about the grinders of cease because they are few, and those that look out the window be darkened. He's gonna go into that later because basically, there's no hope for the future. People looking for hope, looking for like people are thinking or hoping now things to go back to normal, but it's not going to happen that way. It's not prophesied, it's not written that way. And the doors shall, verse 4, and the doors shall shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. See, that's what's going on. This music. Ain't nobody gonna be, you know, ain't nobody gonna be looking to be in a joyous spirit, with all the, listening to music and all this, that, and the third. Ain't nobody gonna be in a joyous spirit like that. He's gonna be brought low, and on top of that, also this quality of music is quality is already low. Nobody really, anybody in their right mind is not listening this type of music that they got out, you know. And going on verse 4, and when they shall be afraid, on Salakia also, when thou shalt be afraid of that which is high, and the fear shall be in the way, the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mornings goeth about and the mornings go about the streets. Yeah, so people gonna be dying. People gonna be it's gonna be a frightful sight. Be rubbish. Basically the wildlife, the plant life is gonna take over the streets. You're gonna be mourning in the streets. People gonna be suffering and all that's what's gonna happen. So let's get back to this video.
A business owner, Mike Schuler, described in an interview, people are making so much money being unemployed with so much of the stimulus money, and a lot of people just aren't going back to work. It's awful for the restaurant industry.
See, that's what he was saying. That's in verse 4. That's verse 4, I think. Yeah, and the door, Ecclesiastes 12:4, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and ye shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Jumping to verse 4, Salakia. I'm at verse 3. In the day when the keeper of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. The grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the window be darkened. That's basically what he's talking about. People are not trying to return back to work because they're getting this stimulus money, which that's going to cause hyperinflation anyway. It's going to be prices going to be hyperinflated because they're giving all this money. You got to pay it back somehow. So they're not gonna give you nothing for free. It's nothing given for free. Dealing with this government anyway. Not gonna give you anything for free. You got to pay it back. And once the gas prices are already low, it's already rising. He's gonna get into that too. But and I'm gonna just read what it says. It says people are making so much money being unemployed, and then so much of the stimulus money that a lot of people aren't going back to work, and it's awful. Said Mike Schuler on Smoke on the Water in downtown Greenville. That people are not trying to get back to work because they're getting this money. Well, why? Why should I go back to work and I'm getting paid like this?
Schuler, who owns the eatery Smoke on the Water in downtown Greenville, just as many other restaurant owners, is having to face some very difficult questions about the future of his business. The hard part is, how do you absorb all of that? As a business, you've got to raise prices to account for the increase in labor costs, increase in product costs as well, he explained.
See what it said? That's basically inflation. You say you got to raise the prices. Raise the prices. Basically raise the prices, which is inflation.
Something has got to give, highlighted Adam Hayes, Executive Vice President of Larkin's Restaurants. I don't know what the answer is, but it's somewhat of a perfect disaster. The restaurant sector is just one of the many dealing hardships right now, and to prove so, we gathered statements of experts, economists, and industry insiders of several different segments that are reporting how the unprecedented demand is triggering a shortage of everything and pushing prices to new record highs. The industry of electrical equipment, appliances, and components is also experiencing a major breakdown. According to Timothy, your best descriptions of the situation comes from an electrical equipment manager who said that things are now out of control. Everything is a mess. We are seeing wide-scale shortages, from steel and aluminum to electronic chips and control boards. There are shortages of everything, exclaimed Alan Stern of George Washington Toma. So we're seeing large back orders on things like dishwashers and refrigeration, he said. Over the past few months, after so many rounds of business shutdowns and the consequent deceleration of economic activity, many companies have been forced to, in the face of growing demand, shortages are way up, Fiore said, adding that labor shortages are also contributing to the aggravation of this issue as factories struggle to maintain full staffing while also observing safety precautions for the health crisis. And when they say they can't get parts, if you peel through that, most of that is probably related to the fact that people making those parts simply can't get labor. It all kinds of feeds down 3 or 4 tiers through the supply chain, he explained.
See that? See that goes straight back to what Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 4, or verse 3. It says, the grinding is going to cease, because the grinders are few. That's what's happening here. That's what the narrator is basically explaining, because they can't get any the workforce. They can't get a workforce for the demand,
Shortages of power equipment are forecasted to persist through late summer or fall, given that, according to Cody Morrison of Morrison's Power Equipment, getting new components from overseas has been very difficult. The problem has become so serious that many of the regional Fed business surveys asked specific questions about supply chain disruptions over the past few months, which also proves the central bank was always aware of the effects its monetary policies could cause. As we can observe, most manufacturing firms reported that current supply chain disruptions are negatively impacting production. Moreover, at least 38% of respondents in the Atlanta Fed survey affirmed that supplier delays were moderate to severe, while 49% of Dallas Fed respondents disclosed that disruptions had notably increased input prices. To better illustrate the causes of the ongoing supply chain disruptions, Goldman Sachs recently released a report outlining that even though supply shortages have affected a wide range of products, the root causes are oftentimes the same. First, manufacturers have been caught unprepared by a surprisingly acute uptick in demand and hadn't ordered enough inputs in advance to meet production needs. Second, the fact that demand rapidly grew during a time when transportation services are limited by the health crisis has led to an undersupply of shipping containers and congestion issues at West Coast ports. Consequently,
that dude just I was just strolling up, and it says this video here. It says the coming food crisis, due to inflation, basically warning food inflation on the rise. This was like a week ago too. So that's all. This is talked about in the scriptures also. You know, basically, people neighbors going to be invaded, wanting each other's homes. You know what I'm saying? You might find it in the scriptures.
resulting in prolonged shipping.
Let me try to see if I can grab that real quick. Slovakia, yeah, I found this in, second Ezra, second Ezra 15 and 19, and it reads, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. You know, that's basically what's gonna happen. You see, food prices. It's gonna get real serious. Like the word says, it's gonna be a time like no other, no time in history, and it's gonna be and no time like no other, and it's not gonna be another time like this afterwards. You know, so it's gonna be some serious times, and it's gonna be real. It's gonna be real. It's gonna get real out here. You know, gonna be a real tribulation out here. Thus says YAHAWAHSHI YAHAWAHSHI. You know, I'm read that again. The second Ezra 15 and 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of the bread, because of lack of bread, and for great tribulation. You know what I'm saying? That's what's coming, man. That's you see it right there. You know, right here, the coming food crisis. You know.
Delays. Goldman affirms that neither of the above two problems should abate soon, especially considering that the financial support for household income will continue to stimulate consumer spending and therefore a heightened demand. On the other hand, the sanitary outbreak should continue to disrupt the supply of international goods transport services for the time being, and things won't change until there's a widespread inoculation across the United States and in other trade partner countries. For that reason, Goldman calculates that higher shipping costs are increasing year-over-year core consumer price inflation by nearly 9%. Unexpectedly strong demand for manufactured goods is providing a boom across many of the country's industries, but it's being followed by a huge headache. As supply chains are getting the tightest they've ever been, critical industry components are proving a lot more difficult to procure. For example, Drew Greenblatt, the president of Marlin Steel in Baltimore, has recently revealed in an interview that although the economy seems to be snapping, frustration is starting to mount. The company uses to make pail handles has been back-ordered for months. He says, last month we would have shipped 25% more if we had not had these shortages. We're banging our head against the wall because if we accept an order today for these pail handles, we can't ship until July. It's madness, Greenblatt said. Another company owner within the primary metals industry said to be seeing their new order log increase by 40% over the last 2 months, but they're overloaded with orders and do not have the personnel to get product out the door on schedule. Nicole?
Slovakia, family, let me, see if I can find something real quick. Alright, Akim, I'm back. Yeah, I just want to forward a little bit through the video to get to this point.
Is warning there will be critical challenges ahead. Our worldwide supply chain, he says, and ability to provide products and services to you is being significantly impacted by increased prices resulting from labor and raw material shortages, escalating raw material prices, manufacturing delays, and transit interruptions. Stated directly, our costs are increasing and are much more volatile than in the past, he noted. As more money flows into the economy, we're about to experience more shortages of multiple other goods while watching how the Fed-fueled inflationary spike will ravage our purchasing power. We're now on phase 2 of the economic collapse, or what some like to call the everything collapse, which means we have just entered an era where everything will spiral out of control, and the result is the most dramatic crisis this country has ever seen. Now, more than ever, you should start to get ready for the troubles that are coming next.
That's the end of the video, but what he was saying he was saying as more money is pumped into the system, is basically through these stimulus plans, inflation is going to increase, and he says you should prepare yourself for what's coming next, and only how you can do that, is turning back to your power, which is that who or that you is the children of Israel, the children of Yasharala, which is the so-called Negroes, so-called Latins, so-called Native Americans. We must turn back to our power, because it's only how we gonna have comfort in these times, which YAHAWAHSHI promised. Promise comfort, and just to leave off in the scriptures, we're gonna turn to a scripture, Habakkuk 2, Salakia, starting at verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my Latinos and Native Americans the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahawah, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. As to the imagination, what people think about you, the incredulity, that means the unbelief of them. You don't let that trouble you, because all the unfaithful, all the unbelievers are gonna die in their unfaithfulness, like it says here. Behold, saith Yahawah, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. That's what's it's already here. It's gonna continue. You know, for the wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith Yahawah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. Oh, this second Ezra, Salakia, but it's still related. It's still in relation. I'm gonna sorry, Salakia, second I'm in Habakkuk 2 in verse 1. That's still relevant, because it's still relevant to what's gonna happen. But this is what I really needed. I'll start at verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And Yahawah answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it surely come, it will not tarry. That's what people think. They think because it ain't happened yet, or they think it's supposed to. We go through a little crisis here, like this little. We was under this lockdown before last year, and we came off of it. People think it's gonna get back to normal, but it's not. Just like the word said, because it, you know, though it tarry, what I'm saying, though it's a delay, wait for it, because it will not. It will surely come. It will not tarry. The vision. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. That him, his soul, that his who he's talking about in this verse is the wicked. You know, Esau, Edom. You know, they soul is not right in them. You know, Esau, they are the wicked. Verse 5, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heap unto him all people. That's why they call America the melting pot. You know, all immigrants. This place started through immigration. You know, that's a basically a known fact that they teach you in these in this distorted history when you go to school. Going on. Um, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increased that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. I'm gonna go to the blue letter to get the definition of laden. Salakia. It says I'm gonna reread it. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increased that which is not his. That's, of course, his land was stolen. He's going all throughout the earth, um pillaging, stealing natural resources. Other these other nations or people, their land, he's stealing natural resources, this, that, and the third. It's a known fact. You do your research. They got college professors and people that's in the know. They basically tell you the truth about how this country is so corrupt. The government anyway. And it's hypocritical. And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. We're gonna go into that word, what the definition of ladeth means. This is right here in the
Strong's H 3513. Kavad. Kavad. Second entry. Kaved. Kaved.
Kavav. I'm not slacking. See what the word clay, what that clay means.
Strong's H 5671. Avtit. Avtit.
Slacking. I'm gonna go back to laden. See, laden means kavav. Laden means to be heavy, to be weighted or grievous, to be rich. Basically to be heavy. That's in this sense, in this instance, is what to be heavy. So being heavy in what? In that clay. We're gonna find out what clay means in the Hebrew.
Strong's H 5671. Avtit. Avtit.
Basically heavy in debt. That's what this country they keep. This country right here is 20. The national debt is like 21 $1 trillion. And I just seen another videos talking about corporate debt. They said corporate debt was it's like 11 trillion dollars or something like that. That's to be heavy in debt. You know what I'm saying? Like this country is heavy in debt. You know, and it's printing this money that really is not is worthless. It's backed by nothing. And it's printing out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? And you know, thick clay. You know, laden with thick clay. You know, woe to him. Read it again. Uh, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increase that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. You know, jumping to verse 9. Woe to him that coveteth at evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the powers of evil. You know, that's what he's trying to do. You know, trying to set his nest on high, hoping to deliver himself from the powers of evil. You know, that's why he's trying to climb up into this. That's for another lesson though. You know, make his stature on high, and building these these space stations and things like that. And and basically these bunkers too. They basically they trying to hide or trying to get in out of sight, out of mind, basically from the troubles that's at hand, which is coming from these nuclear bombs, man. These nuclear bombs. This is the way this place is gonna be destroyed, and by the chariots, the people think of the so-called UFOs. They gonna come, they gonna come and destroy this place. YAHAWAHSHI is coming back to destroy, But I'm gonna not to get off the subject too much, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Hope the body YAHAWAHSHI was edifying to the body, and to the next time, Shalom. And Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Call Loyam La, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, and Shalom to the body.